Good morning, everyone. Before I begin, my thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Venezuela who lost loved ones in those devastating earthquakes. My heart is with the families grieving, the injured, the displaced, and everyone trying to make sense of such sudden loss. Moments of this should remind us of our shared humanity. Sadly, there are still those who are cold and heartless in the face of another nation's suffering. Some appear to be more interested in what can be taken from a country than in the pain its people are enduring. We have even heard the President of the United States boast about taking Venezuela's oil, and that kind of language reveals a troubling lack of compassion. And quite frankly, I also do not hear much sympathy from Americans in general. At times, it feels as though some are saying, "It did not happen to us, so I don't care." But when devastation visits America, whether by natural disaster or human tragedy, we expect the world to stop, look towards us, and care about our suffering. I say this with sincerity. Never rejoice in the suffering of others. Never become numb to another person's pain simply because it happens somewhere else. Life has a way of humbling all of us. Unforeseen tragedy can visit any nation, any family, and any one of us at any time. Compassion should not depend on borders. Human suffering is human suffering. Something is happening to millions of people right now. They're losing interest in their jobs, in the news cycle, in the life they spent decades building. The instinct is to call that depression, or burnout, or weakness. I want to tell you something different. That feeling, that quiet withdrawal from everything, is not a breakdown. It is a signal. And if you learn how to read it, it might be the most important thing you ever hear from your own body. Look around at the world we are living in right now. Everything is fear-based. Every headline, every notification, every political speech, every algorithm. We are living in a world that has been engineered to keep us in a constant state of low-grade dread, always waiting for the next bad thing to happen. Add to that the financial pressure, the economic stress, the cost of just staying alive. More people than ever are living paycheck to paycheck, hopeless about owning a home. Some are living out of their vehicles, not because they are lazy, but because the system was not designed with their well-being in mind. And people are exhausted. They are overwhelmed. And they are checking out. That is what is happening to millions of people. They are living someone else's life, and the body is finally refusing to cooperate. Here's what I think is really going on beneath all of this. When human beings live in prolonged fear, we become easier to control. When we are comparing ourselves to other people, their homes, their cars, their highlight reels on social media, we become easier to sell to. And when we are always chasing and never arriving, we never stop long enough to ask the one question that matters most. Is this actually the life I want? We have become more connected to our screens than to each other. We have been pulled away from nature, from community, from silence. And I will tell you, silence is where wisdom lives. Most people are terrified of it because they have been trained to fill every quiet moment with noise, as if they're missing out on something. There is a difference. The performance, the hustle, the metrics, the keeping up, that is what is collapsing. And underneath it, something real is trying to breathe. I know this territory personally. I spent over 20 years in the United States Air Force, then over 2 decades as a federal government employee. I built a career by the book, by the rules that were handed to me. Go to work, serve, be productive, retire. And then one day, I sat still long enough to hear myself think. And what I heard surprised me. The life I had built was fine, but it was not free. There's a concept in psychology: fight, flight, or freeze. When we are pushed past our limit, those are our 3 options. We have been in fight mode and flight mode for years now, and what I see in people today is freeze. They're checking out. the flat effect, the going through motions. That freeze is not failure. It is the nervous system waving a white flag and saying something has to change. We were all handed a script early in life. Go to school, get a degree, find a job, buy a house, work for 40 years, retire at 65, then enjoy what is left. For some people, that script worked, but for millions, it ran out long before the ending promised. The house never came. The job became a sentence. The retirement account is not enough. And the freedom they promised at 65, if they even make it there healthy, arrives when the energy to use it is already running low. I'm not saying that script was entirely wrong. I'm saying it was never the only script available. We were just not shown the others. When you lose interest in everything, sometimes what you are really losing interest in is a story that was never yours to begin with. And that, right there, is the beginning of something real. I made a choice. I chose to stop waiting for circumstances to give me permission to live the way I actually wanted to live. I chose Panama City. I chose a simpler life, a slower life, a life oriented around health, movement, peace, and purpose, not productivity metrics and performance reviews. And I want to be honest with you, I do not need much to be genuinely happy. I need food that is good and real. I need a safe place to sleep. I need air and space to move my body. I need meaningful work. Everything else, almost everything else, is noise. Here in Panama, I watch people every morning in the park below my apartment. They are walking, running, doing free aerobics classes outside in the open air, laughing with each other, not performing for anyone, just living. That is not a small thing. That is civilization operating the way it's supposed to. Now, let me speak to you directly. If you are the person sitting with that emptiness right now, that flat feeling, that loss of interest in almost everything, first, put the phone down. Not forever, but today. For an hour. Put it down. Go outside. Sit somewhere. Do not feel the silence. Let it be uncomfortable, because on the other side of that discomfort is something you have not heard in a long time. Your own voice. Second, practice gratitude. Not the performance of gratitude, not a hashtag, real quiet gratitude for the small things that are still working in your life. The food on your table, the fact that you woke up this morning. Start small. Start honest. Third, get curious about other ways to live. Not to escape your life, but to expand your imagination about what is possible. This platform is filled with people who redesign their lives in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. They are not exceptional people. They are people who made a decision and followed it. You don't have to move to Panama. You don't have to make a dramatic move. You just have to be honest about what is no longer working and open to the idea that something else might. Losing interest in everything is not the end of something. It is the end of something that was not serving you. And that is the most hopeful thing I can say to you today. Because when the old structure starts to fall and that space opens up, if you're brave enough to stay in it, it's where your real life begins. I am living proof of that, right here in Panama City, building something real, something mine, something that finally makes sense. The world did not break you. It just revealed that it is time for something better.